Шановні колеги, ми продовжуємо.
We continue our working day, and now the floor is given to Ministry of Defense spokesman on ATO-related issues, Colonel Andriy Lysenko. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Now, the information about the events that happened in the ATO area during the last 24 hours and about training of Ukrainian armed forces. In Lugansk area, the occupants were active in the region of Bakhmutsk highway, Sokolniki, Krymsky part of front line. There, the enemy repeatedly used mortars and a tank. And we remind to you that in spring 2014, winter 2015, there were active military actions, and heavy mortar shelling was in Lugansk, Stanitsa Luganska. There, the occupants delivered fire without break for 3 hours using mortars and armored vehicles. In Popasnyansky region, there were military actions, but the situation is calmer. In the Donetsk area, military activities were only in Avdiivka production area. The enemy used mortars in course of each shelling. The enemy launched about 70 mines at our positions, and all shellings were long-lasting from 1 to 3 hours. The enemy violates ceasefire both during the day and at night, and the Ukrainian forces are forced to return fire, and the occupants sustain losses. The Mariupol area, compared with the previous days, the situation yesterday there was calmer, and the number of enemy shellings were reduced by half, but it is still more than in Lugansk and Donetsk area taken together. And in Pavlo-Pilshirokina part of front line, there are some mortar shellings, and the enemy violated ceasefire in Dokuchaevsk. In Mariinsky region, it was calm. And yesterday, in the region of ATO, 2 flights of air drones of the enemy were observed, all of them in the Mariupol area. And for comparison, the day before yesterday, there were 7 flights of air drones. And the enemy used air drones to correct artillery shelling of Tanenka on Saturday, and remind to you that agricultural enterprise was damaged and 1 civilian person was killed. And during the last 24 hours, in the result of the military actions, no Ukrainian serviceman was killed, but 1 was wounded. That happened in Avdiivka in the course of enemy shelling. Confirmed losses of the enemy. During the last 24 hours, 3 occupants were killed and 4 were wounded. This happened in the Donetsk area. Confirmed losses of the enemy during the last week. 15 killed and 16 wounded. And 9th Regiment militants were not lucky in coastline area in Mariupol, and also 11th Regiment Avdiivka production area, and 7th Brigade Lugansk area, and detached artillery brigade of 2nd Army Corps of Russian occupation forces. The enemy sustains losses along the front line, mainly in the hotspots where the militants are the most active. That's why they pay with their lives for their actions. From Russia, they brought additional reinforcement for the militants. Through Sverdlovsk in the direction of Krasnodon, they brought 2 tanks, and from Matvyeev Kurgan, they brought to the occupied territory 24 trucks with ammunition, and to Kharkiv, they brought 6 railway cars with ammunition, to Grad systems, and to Ilovaisk station, they brought 6 railway cars with spare parts to military equipment and food, and 5 tanks with fuel and lubricants. Ukrainian special forces found 1 more proof that the Russian Federation provides weaponry to the militants. Our officers found an exploded ordnance of Smerch missile system of Russian make in Berezove village, Mariinsky region, Donetsk Oblast. This is the 300 millimeter multi-charge warhead, and this equipment can be operated only by regular army servicemen, and the year of its production is 1995. And in Kievshina, the students of National Guard had some field training. They were trained in handling different types of weaponry that will be further used in the course of firing. These training are important because after graduation, some of them will implement their knowledge in the military units, in the positions of the officers. And SBU continues to cooperate with people who left the ranks of the militants and were provided one more chance for peaceful life. In the framework of the program, they wait for you back home. After 2 years of being outside Ukraine, a man returned to Ukraine. This man served at checkpoints of the militants in 2014, and then he fled after the city was freed by Ukrainian army, and the court verified this, reviewed this case, and released the former militant from criminal responsibility. And he has returned to peaceful life, and he is with his family now. And we call on everyone who didn't commit heavy crimes. You should do the step. You should return to your family and to your friends. You should remember that they wait for you back home. And one more piece of information for the media. Now, at the press service of Ukrainian side of JCCC, there is a number. We can provide you with the number of the officer from this center, and this officer will provide answer from Boris Kremenets, and we advise all representatives of the media to this person. And now Taras Greń is carrying out these activities. So if you have some questions or clarifications. No, there are no questions. This is the end of press briefing. Thank you. Dear colleagues, our next event is at 1 p.m.